Hello, everyone. It's time for some new box office predictions. Before we get into the new lineup for the top 5 this weekend, though, we've got some recapping to do. Of course, we're kicking it off with the Fantasy Movie League recap. It was an interesting thing to watch develop through the weekend because for a good while, I was pretty sure that I was going to get the perfect lineup. Then the numbers changed, and we wound up at that point only having one player in the predictions with Perri Lee get the perfect lineup, and that player was Joey at Vizrec. Congratulations to you. Look up on the board all by yourself. I am so impressed. Another congratulations. And before we move on, you guys know I can't help it. I have to talk about fantasy football. I thought I was going to have a devastating week last week because 3 of my players went down in their games, which is a terrible thing. And then on top of that, I sat Chase Edmonds, which made me really sad in the end. But I still managed to get the win. I don't know how that happened, but now I'm 6-1, and I am going to try to continue that good record this week. We'll see what happens. Let's go into our recap from how everything was at the box office last weekend, where I actually went 5 for 5 again. I wish I was a little closer on Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, though, but hey, sometimes movies underperform, and this one did. It made $36.9 million. Then at number 2, we've got Joker still holding strong and adding another $29.3 million to its already very impressive haul. The 3 spot went to Zombieland Double Tap, which had a rock-solid opening. It actually topped the $24.7 million made by the first one and took $26.8 million. Then at number 4, it was the Addams Family with a respectable 46% dip and a $16.3 million weekend 2 total. However, then it was Gemini Man, which fell nearly 60%, leaving it with just $8.3 million for its second weekend in theaters. All right, let's get into the new round of predictions now. For the 5 spot, I think it's going to one of the 2 new wide releases. We've got Countdown and also Black and Blue, both of which I think had pretty weak promotional pushes. So I'm gonna lean towards Countdown because, hey, we're at the end of October and it's a horror movie, so my number 5 pick this time around is Countdown. I am a little hesitant to do this because Silent Hill Revelation 3D is part of a familiar brand name, but it was a Halloween weekend release from a non-major studio, and it opened up with about $8 million, which I think is pretty reasonable for Countdown. And if I want a little more reinforcement with that idea, all I have to do is look at Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension. That opened late October, made roughly the same amount. So I think that's the ballpark that I'm working with here. I want to kick it up just a little bit because, hey, I think I'm kind of desperate for a horror movie, a new horror movie for Halloween. So I'm going to give Countdown an opening weekend total of $9 million. All right, now it is on to the number 4 position. And this time around, that's where I've got the Addams Family. For this one, I'm going to ditch the Goosebumps comp because I think Goosebumps was holding stronger than what's happening with Addams Family right now. But I still think a good place to look at is going to be Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Both movies had similar opening numbers, similar weekend 2 drops, and I do think they're going to stay in line to a degree in weekend 3. The thing is, though, Addams Family is dealing with a little more competition at the box office, but I still think it's very good counter-programming, and with those 2 things in mind, I've got a feeling that it could stay pretty much right in line with Peregrine, which would be a very good thing for Addams Family because Peregrine saw a limited percent change in weekend 3. That could mean Addams Family is going to take a 41% dip and make another $9.5 million this weekend. All right, working our way up the charts now to number 3. That's where I have Zombieland Double Tap. I already told you in this video, Double Tap outperformed the first Zombieland movie in weekend 1, but I still think the first Zombieland movie's weekend 2% change of 40% is where I should start. Both movies in weekend 2 of release didn't have all that much competition. For the first Zombieland movie, it was just the opening of Couples Retreat. The thing is, though, Double Tap is dealing with stronger holdovers in Maleficent and also Joker in particular. So I do think that percent change needs to come up. Not by too much. I'm going with 45%, and that would mean Zombieland Double Tap is making another $15 million this weekend. All right, now we have reached the number 2 position, and that brings us right back to Joker. And with Joker, I'm going right back to Logan and Venom, or more specifically, their percent change trends, which could be a very good sign for Joker this weekend, because in weekend 4, the numbers for those two movies, they went down a good deal. And I kind of think it's inevitable for Joker, given the fact that we have such a limited new competition this time around. In fact, I think I might look precisely to what happened with Venom, because in weekend 3 of release, it saw a 48.5% dip, and then that number came down to an even 41% in weekend 4. If Joker winds up seeing a similar change in its numbers, last weekend's 47.6% dip could come down to 40%. That would mean Joker is making another $17.5 million. All right, now we've reached the top spot on my list, but with this, I want to give you the heads up in case you're making lists of your own that I do think it could be very close between Joker and what I have at number 1, which is Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. With this movie, I think I have to look at 2 other movies, 2 Disney live-action adaptations, beginning, of course, with what I referenced last weekend, Dumbo. Dumbo outperformed Maleficent in weekend 1 of release, but I still have to consider that 60.4% drop it took in weekend 2. On top of that, I gotta look over to Alice Through the Looking Glass right now. Mistress of Evil topped that movie's opening weekend number, but still, it saw a whopping 58% drop in weekend 2. I think that's a sign that Maleficent could be in for a fairly big hit. The thing is, though, both of those movies were dealing with far less competition, plus Maleficent has that A cinema score, so while I do think I need to bring the percent change down, I can't bring it below a certain point. I think the happy medium between dipping it and not going down too low is coming in at a 50% drop, which would mean Maleficent Mistress of Evil is taking another $18 million this weekend. All right, we have reached the recap portion of our show now. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil is coming in at number 1 on my list with $18 million. Then I've got Joker right behind with $17.5 million. Zombieland Double Tap is taking the 3 spot with $15 million. Then it's the Addams Family at number 4 with $9.5 million, followed right behind by Countdown at number 5 with $9 million. All right, guys, that's a wrap on my box office predictions, but it is your turn now. Head on over to Fantasy Movie League, lock those lineups. Again, it's really great this season. There is so much competition in there. And you also have to hit the comment section below, put your top 5 rankings and your number picks right there as well. Before I say goodbye, as always, we've got a group of Patreon shoutouts, and this is for a great group. You guys know, you've probably heard these names before, and I know them very well. All great individuals, and they are Kaiser, Seth, Neil, Rick, and James. I tell you guys this all the time, but I don't care. I'm saying it again. You guys all rock. Thank you so much for the continued support. Means a lot to me and means a lot to Dewey too. But you know what? We're out of here right now. Before you leave this video, do not forget to like and share it. And I'm going to see you next week with more box office predictions.